All right, friends, welcome to part 2, questions 11 through 20. So let's start with magnetic resonance angiography of pelvis without contrast. Lots of details here. So MRA is your magnetic resonance angiography, and then you've got your anatomic site, and then you got the detail of without contrast. So from our index, now I believe that this particular procedure procedure is found by the acronym MRA. So let's see here. Let me get over to my M's. Okay. So you'll find it actually under magnetic resonance angiography, and it's listed as MRA. All right, and then I'm going to start just looking for my anatomic site. Here we go, pelvis. Now, what I'm not finding from here, right? What are we missing? What have we not captured? The detail of without contrast. So because there's only one code to choose, I'm going to go on the guess that it probably is with or without contrast. It could be either one, and it's all going to be grouped into one code. Let's go check it out, okay? Tabular section. And that is exactly what we find. Once you get over to your tabular section, you'll find that it is with or without contrast material. So it doesn't matter. They could have used it or not used it. You're still going to select the same same procedure code. All right, up next, we've got a transvaginal ultrasound of a pregnant uterus using real-time image documentation. Okay, important detail here. Pregnant uterus, okay? That means obstetrics. All right, so what we can do, we can go over to ultrasound and then find transvaginal, but don't stop there, right? So you got to find the one that's specific for a pregnant uterus. So let me go over to ultrasounds. Okay. So here we go. So transvaginal. Okay, so if you just went to transvaginal ultrasound, right, you're going to find yourself in a different section than or a different code than what you would like. So what you want to pay attention to is pregnant uterus, right? Notice again, if you go to anatomic site of uterus, it's broke down by non-obstetric and obstetrical. So anytime they're talking obstetrics, know that we're talking about a woman that is with child, okay? All right. So now you've got uterus, obstetrical, and then you've got some codes that you've got to go review and pick which one fits best with your scenario. If you want obstetrical and pregnant uterus, notice here it's the exact same codes that are listed in both sections, okay? So now what we would need to do is figure out which one fits best. What have I not captured from my index? We haven't captured the real-time image documentation, so that's what I would be looking for when I get over to my tabular section. So I can see that there's one code, 76805, that's kind of like a standalone code, and then I got a range of codes, 76810 through 76817. So again, always asking myself the question, what have I not captured, and what is unique about each one of those codes, and which one is going to fit best? All right, so now head over to my tabular section here. Also notice here, right? Here is your obstetrical guidelines associated to the codes. And then what was that one? Or the first one that was listed there, 76805 was your first option. 76805 talks about ultrasound, pregnant uterus, real-time documentation. Okay, but it's not saying anything about transvaginal. Ah, notice that. Oh, look at that detail. I'm going to highlight this. That first code that was provided to you from your index was transabdominal approach. Again, always them devils in them details. So now I can jump forward, right? I know that's not the right approach. Ours is transvaginal. So now I can start looking at my other code options that were provided from my index. And we can see that 76817 gives us that detail of transvaginal ultrasound, pregnant uterus, real-time image documentation. All right. Up next, we've got a two-view chest X-ray film, frontal and lateral. So think about like frontal and lateral is basically saying two views, right? So giving you a view from the front and giving you a view from the side, because that would be lateral. All right. So X-ray, I've got that part of my book tabbed, frequently viewed section, and then anatomic site, chest, and then I got a range of codes. So then I'm asking myself again, what have I not captured? I haven't captured how many views, right? So that is going to be one of these codes, right? In this range is going to include the amount of views that I need. So let me head back over. Oh, here I am. Okay. So again, I'm in my chest. And then here's the radiologic examination chest. Stop, right? There's that semicolon. So this is your base procedure. And then we got to find the variation that represents our views. Now, it didn't matter. It doesn't need to specifically say frontal and lateral. It's kind of redundant when they say two views, frontal and lateral, because they could have just told you frontal and lateral chest x-ray, right? And that would have also indicated two views. So this could have been an anterior and posterior view. It could have been a frontal and lateral view. Could have been a posterior and lateral view, as long as it's equals two views. Okay. All right. Let's move on to CT scan of the brain without contrast medium enhanced and without contrast medium enhancement. Got it. Okay. So I've got a CT scan. Where at? The brain without contrast. Okay. So I'm going to head over to my index. I'm going to go to computed tomography. That is your CT scans. Perfect. Okay, here I am. CT scan. And then I'm going to start to look for brain. Here we go, brain. And then I want to talk about these temporary codes and show you something really quick. So category 3 codes. So notice these first two codes that are provided to you, they don't look like your normal CPT code. So it's got a bunch of numeric characters and then it has a T on the end of it. And then you've got this other code to choose from, which is 70450. So really quick here, I just want to show you and talk about what a category 3 code is and also tell you why you don't want to select that. Okay. So category 3 codes, they're over here on page 907. And I just want to just point out this one part. So it says these are temporary codes for emerging technology, services and procedures or service paradigms. These codes allow data collection for these services and procedures. Use of unlisted codes does not offer the opportunity for the collection of specific data. Here's the rule. If a category 3 code is available, this code must be reported instead of a category 1 unlisted code. So remember, there's unlisted codes into that 999, right? So unless that applies to your particular service, then don't pick one of these codes, right? So this is basically what these codes are, is that eventually these codes could become permanent codes, okay? So it says codes in this section may or may not eventually receive a category 1 CPT code, which is your tabular section. So you can read more about this. Again, category 3 codes, they're on page 907, but these don't generate money, right? So again, these are codes to use that would possibly better describe a service that was provided versus a description of unlisted procedure. That's all that is, okay? So what we want to do is we're going to select the code that does come from category 1, that is an established code, right? It doesn't end in that 999 to represent an unlisted service. So just by default, skip past it and select your 70450. And that's going to put you, where's your brain at? Your brain's in your head. Okay, nice. And then, so notice here, we're in head net section. And then 70450, computed tomography, head or brain without contrast material. Fantastic. All right. Let's move on to mammary ductogram, multiple ducts. So that's your detail. And then with radiologic supervision and interpretation. So let's see here. I think I looked this code up earlier. And I feel like when I went to ductogram, it told me to go to galactogram. Let me see if I recall that was the process here. Ah, yes. So when I went to ductogram, it says see galactogram. Okay, so that's it. So it's basically, I just learned a new word, right? For service, galactogram. Awesome. So I'm just going to follow the instructions and I'm going to head over to the term galactogram. There it is. Galactogram, okay? And then I've got two code choices, 77053 and 77054. Okay, so now I'm asking myself, what have I not captured from my index? I haven't captured multiple ducts. I haven't captured the term radiological supervision interpretation. So now I know what I'm looking for when I get over to my tabular section and reviewing those two codes. So now I'm going to go over there and see what the difference is between these codes. Ah, there we go. Here's your difference. Your first code that was provided in that range is a single duct, right? And the one underneath of it is multiple ducts. They both include radiologic supervision interpretation, so that really wasn't the tiebreaker. The tiebreaker is single versus multiple ducts. All right, up next, you've got a complete X-ray examination of the right internal auditory meatus. All right, so you may have been asking yourself, what is an auditory meatus? That's your middle ear. Now, you can, because they've specified this site, we could go over and look under auditory meatus, or we could go to X-ray and then look for auditory meatus. So let's see here. Since I mentioned that, let me just show you really quick. Again, just remember, there's always a couple ways that you can look up procedure codes. You don't have to select the procedure, right? Sometimes it's very non-descriptive, so it's better to start with the anatomic site. So I found auditory meatus, and fortunately, yay, only one code to choose from. Awesome. And again, if you would have went to X-ray, you would have just looked for auditory meatus and then took it from there. So 70134. Okay. Where are your ears at? They're on your head. So here we are back over at head and neck. And then we're going to look for, get in there. Little blurry. Sorry about that. 70134. You've got radiologic exam, internal auditory meati, and then you've got the term complete. Is not wanting to focus. Okay. Let's see here. Up next, we've got a real-time chest ultrasound, including mediastinum. All right, so I'm going to go to ultrasound, and then I'm going to go to chest. Awesome. Another code from the index that just has one entry. I love it when that happens. All right, so from ultrasound, I went to the anatomic site, chest 76604. What have I not captured? Mediastinum. Okay, so at this point, since there's only one code to choose from, it's probably included in it, but now we got to take it over to the tabular section so we can confirm this. Here I am. All right. So again, subsection diagnostic ultrasound, and then it's broke down into anatomic sites. There's my chest, and then you'll find ultrasound chest, and then it says right here includes mediastinum, real-time image with image documentation. Awesome. All right, up next is going to be X-ray 2 views per side, 2 views per side mastoids. Okay, so I could go to X-ray and then just go to mastoids. Or maybe I could even go to mastoids. Oh, look at that. Let's see. I actually turned to my M's. Let's see what's listed under mastoid. Mastoid. Excision, radical, obliteration. I don't see anything listed here with a 70,000 code. Okay, let's see. Oh, look what I found down here. So I went from mastoid to mastoids. I didn't come across this one before. Look at that. Here we go. X-ray. And then it gives you a range of codes to choose from, 70120 through 70130. Or I could have went to X-ray and then I could have looked for mastoids that way, and I would have been supplied the same code range. So now I'm going to take it over and ask myself, what have I not captured? The views, right? How many views? So now I'm going to go over. Your mastoids, by the way, your mastoids are part of your jaw. So you've got your mandible and your masseter muscles in your so you've got your mandible, which is part of your jawbone. The mastoids are your masseter muscles. All right, so let's see here. What do we need? Radiologic examination, mastoid. Here we go. Here's our details. Less than 3 views per side. That's why they're telling us 2 views per side. Perfect. And then the difference, right, between those two codes that was in that range is this one says complete with a minimum of 3 views, but our documentation says 2 views. So we have less than 3, 70120. All right, last one here. An MRA of the chest without contrast medium enhancement. Okay, so index back over to that MRA. I'm looking for MRA, magnetic. Here I am. Excellent. And then I'm looking for my anatomic site of the chest, 71555. All right, and then we're just going to wrap this up by going over to our tabular section here. Oh, there it is. Magnetic resonance angiography, chest, excluding myocardium, with or without contrast materials. All right, that wraps up your week 1 coding concepts. I do this every week for each one of your coding exams. I will see you in the next episode.